as well. And there we go. It's the C pawn. That's not the theory I was studying last night, but understandable to want to get the queen out.
All right, so if this wasn't part of your prep, David, so maybe I did also see, by the way, the bar says that white does start with a slight advantage in that opening position, but you need to figure out the correct move. Now, it's so important to not think about that too much in a 5+2, so you can't fault hands. It's equally important to play quickly as it is to find the right way forward. So we've got this c4, e5, sort of an English-esque position here. And what do you make of this approach by Yu Yangyi, trying to activate the bishop early on?
I think under the circumstances, very clever approach. Ultimately, you could kind of copy. We see a lot of copycat chess in the early stages. c4, c5 is kind of one of the most popular opening sequences in all 960 positions. But you are in a must-win situation with black, so you need to imbalance things. And like you said, this is the English opening pawn structure. It's also like a reverse Sicilian. Both of those openings have kind of fighting tendencies. It very rarely becomes totally symmetrical. And f6 I'm not such a big fan of, but the eval bar seems to like it. I have a feeling if Yu Yangyi can build, if he can play like c5 and d5 and start breaking in the center, he's going to get great chances to fight back in the middle game. But yeah, early days, of course, Tanya. I think e5 justified by the fact that the white knight is very far from kind of controlling d5, which is normally the square you want to cover in the English Open.
Really nicely broken down there by you, and I think e5 just takes control of some of the very important squares. I like this move by Yu Yangyi, bringing the knight into the game. I think eventually with black playing in a must-win, we are going to see one of those breaks that you're talking about, d5, or maybe even a potential, but it does sound crazy to even say it. We might see a b5 land at some point to activate the queen from b8. You know how they say it's not your game, so suggest crazy ideas. That's where I am right now.
Oh, I love it. Go on, b5. Break that queen out into the open, get her in the action, get the get the comeback going. He goes for d5 instead, which looks very natural. Not approved of by the computer. I think that's harsh, Tanya.
Very harsh, and I wonder if it's to do with a check on f5, because I just realized the queen can land there, David Howell, and it almost is checkmate if it wasn't for the rook getting itself pinned.
Ooh, yeah, I blanked on that one. I'm just used to like those types of checks being easily swatted away by like a bishop or a knight block. But yeah, watch out, queen f5. It's scary, but as you mentioned, for now it's tenable. Rook d7. Expecting the I was going to say bishop to take, but the rook captures instead, threatening rook c5. Tanya, I missed that one initially.
That would be winning in one move, so definitely do not play e4 here. Instead, he puts another piece on that square, brings the knight, controls the rook to c5, and now the bishops need to be activated. It does feel like black should be doing fine here with the two bishops in game. White's two bishops still blocked, but the bar says it's Hans Niemann with an advantage. Is it because he has a d4 break coming in?
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, half of it is that d4 might come. The other half is that the black queen, we've seen it yesterday and the day before a lot. But if you don't activate your queen, when the position inevitably opens, you're basically playing a queen down, or at least you have to burn 2 or 3 moves to get the queen into the game. And big mistake from Yu Yangyi, apparently. That looked like the most natural move in the position, but suddenly white has a winning advantage. Tanya, what could it be?
I'm not sure, but I just want to say I thought rook c5 was pretty much the only square. I just realized now that there was a square on a5, but everyone would put the rook on that spot, lining itself with the queen and the king. David, the only thing that makes sense is that rook is vulnerable there, and vulnerable to this hit, now forcing a trade on d4. But why is this such a big advantage for white?
I just think the black queen can't get in the game, and there's going to be checks. You mentioned queen f5. Like, white can even play g3 and unleash the bishop. Okay, he plays b5, that's desperate. But I was going to say the bishop could come out this angle, hit the black king, which would be suffering. Suddenly, okay, there is a big threat of b4, but white gets to the punch first and hits the black rook. I think very natural move, so let's ignore the question mark for now. And yeah, this black rook is really running out of squares. Like, you don't want to go across the 5th rank because that looks like no man's land. If you go to c4, you might find yourself trapped a bit later and captured by the bishop.
I mean, you can do it now, right? Because rook takes pawn, runs into knight c6. Isn't e3 just winning big material? He goes for it. Yu Yangyi about to be down and exchange. Hans Niemann has this in the bag. He's completely winning out of the opening.
Exactly. Like, White's king safety is maybe the one question mark, I would say, but for now, Black's pieces are not in a position to take advantage of that. So as long as White can get his dark square bishop into the game, and knight c6 is a nice fork. Another idea you mentioned that would have happened if the black rook had landed on b4. There would have been a knight fork earlier, just to show everyone, but knight takes a5 now is pre-move territory almost. And Tanya, it's collapsing for black. Yu Yang is maybe running out of time to book that ticket to Vegas.
Oof. Oh my goodness. Was that queen f5? Was that game over?
Oh my god. That was so reminiscent of Yu Yang delivering checkmate yesterday to Vidit. Let's quickly backtrack while this game goes on. Hans Niemann still is winning, but this bar shooting up in this position did give us both a big clue that there was something devastating, and it was queen to f5 check. The knight actually covers the escape squares, and knight takes queen, rook d8 mate. That would have been beautiful.
Oh my god. That is unbelievable. And this was Yu Yang's 12-move miniature, colors reversed, exactly the same checkmate on the board against Vidit. Queen takes c4, take that queen, rook d1 landing with a mate. And you know, David, if Yu Yang was playing with white, he would have played it in an instant, because it just happened yesterday on his board.
Exactly. That would have been so fitting, so appropriate. Full circle for Yu Yang. In the end, he didn't play that move. He captured a pawn on a5. Hans Niemann, just to catch you up, everyone, queen takes pawn on g2 was played. We saw some trades, and the white pawn stepping forward. Hans Niemann wants the queens off because he's the exchange up, rook for knight, and this is where we find ourselves. This is the live position. So just a few moves down the line. But okay, sometimes when you miss those types of things, you get punished. It's like chess karma, but his position surely so good, Tanya, that he should still get this, Hans Niemann.
And it's a good thing, I don't think he realizes at all that he missed a checkmate in two. Like, that was it. That was game over. That was his ticket to the final against Denis Lazovic. But I think it's totally not on his radar, so he's just focused on his advantage, trying to convert it, and he still has a big chunk of that. David, I think also there's this big problem of these two pawns. We talk about the exchange, but the A pawn's about to roll down the board. The rook on E8 not coming into the game. You know, no big jumps for the black knights. E4 square under control. G5 is just desperation. He wants to get the bishop to G7, just trying to create some ideas, trying to eventually land that knight on E4. But I really don't believe that Yu Yang has, I want to say has a chance in this one. That might be too much. There's always a chance. But look at that. He goes all in. He's destabilizing the knight on D6. Hans Niemann about to win.
Yeah, great move. He just wants to get rid of the shelter in front of the black king. And if the black knight ever moves, at first I thought, whoops, this knight is coming around. It's not going to be so easy. But if the black knight ever moves, white is just going to throw the queen forward, force the queens off the board, and easy winning in the endgame. Now this one, it might be in its final throws. Tanya, Hans Niemann's been very impressive on board and clock. It's got to be said.
Absolutely agree. And I think he's been so impressive, also just showing the mental strength that it takes. You know, when you lose that first game in the rapid, and just the way it happened, is so easy to not be able to bounce back. And then let's not forget this.
Hey babes, scrubbing obsessively and still getting nasty glass streaks? Try vinegar, a damp dish towel, and the
Yang, he just fell for it. An unfortunate moment, but Hans Niemann, you know, he just bounced on that opportunity, and then taking that first game win in, and now dominating this one from the start. Let's not forget the day he had yesterday. Incredible stuff from Hans.
Yeah, the first game today was so on the hands. It was very hard to understand some of the decisions, the positional mistakes he was making, the time usage. He was super slow, but then he woke up, Hans Niemann, and the latter half of the second game earlier was when he clearly got back into his stride. And this is going to end in checkmate any moment. This is a check. The white queen is also coming, and Yu Yang is about to resign, shake of the head. Hans Niemann's about to make it into the final. You can even play E4 there, unleash the bishop. He gives a queen check instead. It's going to be mate in a couple of moves, Tanya.
Absolutely, and that's it. We have it. Hans Niemann will go on to the finals. He wins his match against Yu Yang.